Good. Yeah. So Saurav, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, so I have total 5 years of experience as a testing profile, and basically I have worked in the manual testing along with a little bit on the API side, and mostly in mobile application and web application.
Mhm.
So, and according to my current roles and responsibilities, like as of QA, I need to take care about the requirement and prepare the test cases, test scenario, and test the application for the defect and work with the developer, like how we can reproduce it to what is the impact, how we can give the solution on it, and prepare the release note and provide to the client. And also I need to take a part on the client communication and presentation. So these are all the roles and responsibilities for me.
Okay, great, great. Okay. Now, consider a scenario where you are supposed to test a Book My Show application in a mobile. Okay. So, which all test scenarios will you take into the consideration from mobile testing point of view to test and release that particular
Yeah,
application? Yeah.
yeah. So from the mobile testing, mobile application testing point of view, like first of all, we need to go for the functional testing. These all are the functions are working fine or not. And after that, we need to check the base platform of the application, like what is the base platform of that. And another thing is like for the mobile application testing view, one thing is most important, that is the interruption testing.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing also we need to take care about that. So these are the some kind of basic scenarios that we need to take care.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, let me share my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
yeah,
Okay. So, this is a Book My Show website. Okay. Now, can you
yeah,
tell me the positive test scenarios and negative test scenarios to test this particular website?
yeah. Like some positive test scenarios are like if we okay, so for that I am okay. So for the positive test scenario, first of all, we need to check that whether all the like all the content are showing properly or not. If we click
Mhm,
on the any particular content, that it is redirecting to the particular page or not. Like
mhm,
whatever the advertisement is showing here, if we click on that, it will redirect. It should redirect to the particular page. Like
mhm,
whenever user is going to book any ticket for that, the date should be either the current date or after the current date. It should not accept any date that is past date.
mhm,
Or here also the timing is also important. Like right now time is 1:45, so user should be able to book that ticket for the time 1:45 or above the 1:45,
mhm,
not the below of that.
mhm.
So these are the some test scenarios.
Okay. Apart from
And
that, yeah, you can also take the consideration of location over here, right? Popular
location also,
cities.
yeah,
Then sign in with an existing account, register using a new account, and whether that account
yeah,
login is working,
yeah, these are also okay.
right?
Yeah,
Then Book My Show logo is properly displayed, whether the URL is getting launched. I think you covered that particular scenario. All the proper images and all the things are able
yeah, all
to,
the content should be clear. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Then there are few of the links at the in the footer of this particular website. So
footer,
those all
yeah,
links also should work, right? And at the end there are certain
yeah,
logos: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. All these things should also work. Okay. So end to end, these
yeah,
are positive test scenarios. Now, what about the negative test scenarios?
yeah. Yeah, like for the negative scenarios, like suppose that you choose uh, like for the city, if we take the example of city, like we are trying to, like we choose the Bangalore, but we are trying to book for some other cities
Mm,
also. Like we take the whatever the address that we are not giving proper, and
mhm,
timing for that we are taking the timing that is not current time, like first time and
mhm.
first date. So these are some negative scenarios. And like for the book ticket, like if there is 5 ticket is available, but
Yeah.
we are trying to book more than 5 ticket,
Mhm,
this thing also comes under the negative scenarios.
mhm,
And the price thing, that also we can check, like uh, we are giving some that is the price is like below price, suppose that the minimum price is 250, but we are trying to search 0 to 249.
Hmm.
Like price is minimum, we can put the minimum, like price range we can put the below minimum
Mm-hmm.
and above maximum. So that thing also we can check. And by search also we can give some random data, and we can check whether what it is searching over there. And for the cancellation also, we can try to cancel like after the starting time. Like we have booked a ticket for 2 p.m. and we are trying to cancel it like 2:15.
Mm-hmm.
How it is responding. So these are some negative scenarios. And for the food beverage also, we can same thing. We can consider the same thing like price and other thing. We can also consider for that.
Okay,
These are some kind of negative scenarios.
correct. Can you now tell me the concurrent test scenarios for this particular page?
Sorry,
Concurrent, from concurrent testing point of view, what all test scenarios will you test on this page?
concurrent test scenario means I
Mhm.
didn't understand.
Okay, no issues. Concurrent testing means multiple users at the same time they are performing same action. So let's say for
Okay.
any movie, you can take the help of 10 to 15 users. You can involve development team also. You can sit in one conference room or sit together, and at a time you try to click on some particular um, option or some particular
Yeah,
button,
got it.
and you have to make sure that it is working fine. So all the values are properly getting saved in the database for multiple people trying to perform same action or different action at the same time. So that is concurrent
Yeah.
testing, right? So you can perform
Okay.
concurrent
Got it.
testing like that. Okay. Now consider a situation where
Yeah.
uh, let's say you got this particular web page for testing. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So now if I consider one particular iteration on what or in or one particular sprint, okay, so client has told that this entire page should be working. Okay, so at the end of the
Yeah.
sprint you have to deliver this entire page to the client for as a green signal that it is good to release. Okay, now on the very first day when you got this particular story, user story for testing of this web page, you came to know that filter price range is not yet developed, and you can however select the timing options from here and you can continue testing. Okay, so what would be your approach? What would be your strategy? Will you test on all these available buttons or UI UX features, or will you wait for filter price range to get delivered to you?
No, at that time, as a QA, we need to start testing,
Correct.
because if we wait for that,
Hmm,
so it might be get delayed.
hmm,
So
hmm,
what will be happen at the end of the time? That should not be like it's all done. But if we continue start on the testing, so at the end of the very first day, we can report some other issues also.
hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
that thing developer can take care. So we should not wait for that it will be delivered. We should continue our working.
Correct, correct, absolutely. So it is always told in the software testing, the more early bugs you catch, it would be
Yeah,
easy and it would be less costly for the developers to fix it.
less costly.
The
Yeah,
more late you catch the defects, then it's become difficult for development team to fix
difficult.
those issues. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's come to the footer of this page. Okay. Now if I'm clicking on this subscribe to the newsletter, I'm not getting any
Yeah.
link in my email. Okay, for
Yeah.
subscribing it, or let's say their newsletters are also not coming. So what would be the severity and
Okay.
priority of this defect?
Yeah. So for that, like as a thing, we can say it's a functionality of this application.
Hmm,
So our severity should be high,
hmm,
but priority we can put it as a low,
hmm,
because if we fix it later, it would not impact any other thing of the application.
hmm,
It
hmm.
is not so much urgent. So for that thing, we can put the priority as low, but severity should be high because it's a functionality that is not working.
Correct, correct. Now let's look into another test scenario. Let's say for this particular option, PVR Gold Forum Mall, Koramangala, when you open this particular web
Yeah.
page in mobile, you are only able to see 3:20 p.m. You are not able to see 9:30 p.m. option over there, right? So what would be
Yeah.
the severity and
Okay.
priority of this defect?
Okay. So for that thing, first we need to confirm that whether 9:30 p.m. Like we need to check with the website. Like in website, if it is showing that it is available, but in the mobile application it is not showing. So for that, we need to check first of all that whether is there any issue on the on our UI side, like it is not visible on the screen. Like if it is not any issue on the UI side,
Mm,
then we can put the both the severity and priority both as a high,
mm,
because like it's a feature that is also not working, and it is a important, like user, for that user might not be able to book the ticket on on that time, so
mm.
its priority should be also be high.
Fine. Right. Now consider a scenario where the filter show timings, this morning, afternoon, evening, night, this kind of options are not being displayed to the customer or client after the release of this website. So it's an issue in the
Yeah.
production. But at the time of testing, you
Okay.
took care of this scenario, you have the test cases with you. Those are marked as pass for now, right? In your sprint when you tested them. So how will you do the root cause analysis of this issue? How will you win the confidence of the customer back in this case?
Okay, so you are saying that
Hmm,
after clicking on this drop down, this is the listing is not populating.
hmm, hmm. At the
Okay.
customer's end,
Okay.
but it is working at your end.
Okay. So for that, first of all, we need to check that here, like as it is a web application, so there might be a issue with the browser.
Hmm,
So that thing also we need to check that what browser client is using and what is the version of this browser. So that thing also we need to check. And another thing like that, as it is passed on the QA, test cases are passed, marked as a, so we need to check the deployment, like after whether the deployment has been properly done or not.
hmm, hmm,
Because if it is QA environment, if it is working, then it should be work on the production. If there is nothing issue on the browser side, in that case, it might be that like most of the chances that the deployment is not proper. There is some issue on the deployment side.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Right. That can be one of the scenario that deployment is not
Yeah.
done properly. Maybe you will collaborate with the DevOps team to make sure that whether all
Yeah.
the code or all the libraries that was checked in by the developer is available in the production or in the UAT environment as it is, right? So
Yeah.
those things would you would be testing. Now, can you tell me the test scenarios of how will you test Amazon.com end to end? What would be the positive, what would be the negative test scenarios, which will you take into the consideration from web testing, from mobile testing point of
Okay. So for the, if we take any like any of the e-commerce website, like we can, as a few example, you say the Amazon. So for the end-to-end part, we need to check from like as a guest user to as a registered user, from login to logout, all the features we need to test. So first of all, we will perform the testing. We will make the scenarios as a guest user, like
view?
how the guest user is working on. Suppose that as a guest user, whenever I am trying to buy a product, at that time website should be make us as a make the user as a registered user. In time of purchasing, that should be like it should be ask the user to uh, sign up on the portal, and the rest of the thing like searching and filter and buying the thing, add to cart, more product in add, we can we can add more product in a cart, and we can um, purchase it. Like we can check
Mhm.
the payment method also, like cash on delivery, net banking,
Okay.
debit card, credit card, and like Amazon balance, that is also there. So those things also we can take care, and we can also check the delivery address. Like we can also check we can check the product with with our zip code, pin code, like whether the product is available on that particular area or not. And after that we can check the like return process as, and like delivery process also we can check. So these are some kind of positive test scenarios, and negative scenarios like we are in time of searching any product, we put the pin code in that pin code that is available. But whenever we are giving the delivery address, we are putting some different address. Our pin code is something different in that area that is not available. So that thing also we can check. And in the payment method, we can check that like our card is expired, so we can try to buy with the expired card. So whether how it is working, so this thing is also we can take care, and we can check also the whether we can try to buy some product that is not available currently, whether is the platform is giving us to buy the option, or is there any other option to notify or something like that. Or one thing we can do, like we can add a product in the cart, but we can purchase it later. At that time the product is already sold out, so we can try this. And we can also try this, like we are redirecting to the payment page, but we have wait for a long time. At that time product is also sold out, and we are trying to buy it. So these are some negative test scenarios.
Now, can
Those
you,
kind of things we need to take care.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
Can you explain me the iterative and incremental development in Agile? What is the difference between two?
Yeah, like incremental means like first we develop only one part,
Mm,
and we can perform the all the phases of the software testing. Then we can move to the second part, and we can perform. That is same thing is like for the software testing. Like second, the same thing is happening on again and again.
mhm,
So that is the iterative. And incremental means like we can first took care only one module, then we can move to the next module.
mm.
Again, we can go to the third module, again we can go to the fourth module. So these are the incremental model.
Okay, okay. So incremental is nothing but when the software is developed in parts or increments. So in each
Parts of,
increment,
yeah,
a portion of the complete requirement is delivered.
complete.
Iterative
Yeah,
is when the software is developed and it is delivered to the customer, and we
customer.
request them to provide the feedback again. And whichever the feedback is received from the customer, we are incorporating in our cycles or releases or sprints, right? So that
Yeah,
is the example of iterative development,
iterative. Yeah,
right? For example, you can say release one software is developed in, let's say, 5 sprints and delivered to the customer. Now the customer wants some changes. So the development team again plans for the second release, which can be completed in the some sprints and so on. So
sounds
it
great.
is based on the feedback.
Okay.
Now, how do you
Okay.
deal with the testing when requirements change frequently?
Yeah, for that thing, like it is a difficult thing for the QA, but for that thing, we need to keep our test cases updated.
Hmm,
Like whenever we got the new requirement, according to the requirement, we need to update our test cases. If we are updating our test cases each and every time with new requirement, at that time it will be easy whenever we perform the testing. But if we not updating our test cases, then it will be critical for the QA person that it should test how we can test the application. There is a more chance to that some bugs are not tested.
right, right. So basically, we'll have to work very closely or collaborate with the
Yeah,
product owner, business analyst to understand the
yeah,
exact requirement, why they are updating the requirements again and again, because we'll have to update the test case. That is actually a
yeah. We
painful
have to.
process, right?
Yeah,
So and also we'll have to go a kind of accommodate or adopt a generic test plan kind of a thing, or test cases,
yeah,
which even if the requirements are changing, so we are able to update them easily, something like that.
yeah.
Okay. Now, what are impediments?
Yeah, like impediment means whatever the challenges we are facing.
Hmm.
So these are called the impediments.
Mhm. Right. So any hindrance from achieving your or completing your priority task, right? Or team is not able to perform its task in a proper way, then we call them as impediments, and maybe Scrum Master or
Impediment.
sometimes leads or managers are helpful in resolving those impediments.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, Saurav, I am done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. Like I have a few questions for you.
Mhm,
Like first of all, like as of a few days back, I have given an interview.
mhm,
Okay. So there is one question they ask, like, what is the difference between smoke testing, sanity testing, and regression testing?
mhm,
Okay. So my answer is I have given that smoke testing means we need to generally check the overall features of the application, like the basic and critical features, whether
mhm.
it is working or not.
Correct.
Sanity testing means we need to go in depth of the application, like we need to perform both the positive and negative test cases.
Mhm,
But for smoke testing, we generally perform only the positive scenarios.
mhm,
And regression testing means after fixing any issues, whatever the linked module with that issue, that we need to take care. That modules also need to check whether there is any impact on the other module, negative impact that comes due to fixing this issue or not.
Hmm.
So I have given this answer, but the interviewer is not satisfied with that. So for this thing, what we can say?
I mean, I think your answer was absolutely correct. Smoke testing is just testing the high level things, whether those are working or not. What else you can do is in an interview, when you get an opportunity to answer these kind of questions, you can give them examples. You can give them the examples related to your project in your current company, right? And you can tell them in a generic manner. No need to tell them the details of the project, but tell them in a generic manner that in a smoke testing, we found this kind of scenario, or in regression testing, this was a user story given. Akshata, can you please join in 5 minutes? And in regression testing, let's say you were testing one particular story in one iteration, and in the next iteration, you got a
Yeah.
bug for that particular story. So that was actually a regression testing bug, a regression bug, because it was working
Okay.
earlier. Sorry. So when you were testing in first iteration, it was working. You didn't found any bug for that. In iteration two, when some other requirements are being implemented, then you found a bug. So that was regression defect, which the things that was earlier working was is not working now. So this kind of examples you can give,
Okay.
then they will be able to give you a green signal in the interview, right? give
Okay.
give some examples, give some practical examples more and more in the interview, which can actually
Yeah.
support your answers, right?
Okay. Got
Hmm.
it. And the next thing is that, like they ask me, how would you perform the regression testing?
Hmm. Mhm.
So what will be the answer for that?
Right, right. Now it depends on company to company. Let's say in company also there are certain projects. One aspect of the project is that is still in the development phase. Like every week we are getting some enhancements, we are getting some critical features to be delivered. So what generally companies do is they have got three environments or four environments or two environments. One is development environment, one is the test environment. They will do the enhancements
Yeah.
in the development environment on Thursday, and on Thursday or Friday they will do the check-in. They'll take entire code and put it to the test environment. This is one of the aspect. So in the test environment, when your code is coming, you'll have to test the regression testing, and at the time of initial testing like smoke testing, you will be making sure that none of the regression issue has been introduced. That is one of the aspect where the product is still being or project is still being worked on. Another example is the project is already released. It's go live. It's already there in the production. Your work, or actually the company, is just providing the support for that particular application. There are hardly one or two changes, minor changes like checkbox or radio button option is coming as a requirement from the customer. But product is already stable. It is already over there, go live. So what we would do is we would just do the regression testing of those particular with respect to those particular things. You don't need to test end to end. You will take the impacted areas from the developer. Okay, let's say there are 20 pages, but there is a change in one page. So I'll be doing regression testing of that particular feature and with respect to that particular new things only. That is one of the aspect. Third thing is, let's say if the automation is also available in your company, there is a separate automation team who is working on the
Yeah.
creating automation scripts. So what they would do, whenever the release is happening or whenever the you are receiving new build or code is getting deployed, they will be running the automation scripts just to make sure no regression testing has been there, no regression issue has been there. So this is how we are doing
Okay.
regression. So it depends on company to company, project to project, what at what level that project has reached. So this is how you can explain.
Okay. And another question, in that question, I am always getting confused.
Mhm.
Like, what is the testing technique?
Testing techniques, yeah. So
Yeah.
there are various techniques, which there are actually two things in this. So you can ask the interviewer, are you asking about the test case writing techniques? So that is a different thing. Like
Yeah.
we can write test cases with the help of boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, and all these things. Then testing techniques
Yeah.
is also one of the thing. Let's say if they are asking whether I think testing techniques is not a correct thing.
Yeah, because whenever I searched over the internet, like as a testing technique, I got the answer for static testing and dynamic testing. Under
Mhm,
dynamic testing, whatever the key part there is different.
mhm.
But I am always confused whenever some interviewer asks what he is want to know. So the testing
Okay.
technique or the test case design technique.
So no
So
issues.
for this
You
thing,
can.
I am always getting confused.
Right, right. So no issues. You can ask them. Like I'm just confused about this question. So can you elaborate your question and explain me so that I can answer as per your question? You can ask such kind of thing.
Okay.
They might be asking you with respect to verification and with respect to validation as well. This,
Yeah.
and then if we answer incorrectly,
Yeah.
then they will tell, okay, you didn't answer properly. So better to get the clarification on question and then you can answer accordingly what actually they are looking for.
Yeah. Got it. And one thing, like, is there any feedback you want to give me for my interview?
Yeah, I think manual testing is good. Now you should look from the automation testing point of view also, learn Selenium and learn API testing. Then you can also learn CI/CD tools, Jenkins. So that's how you can, uh,
Yeah,
increase your
I
chances.
started to learn. I started to learn the API testing and JMeter.
Okay, great,
These two things I started.
great.
Actually, for automation, I have not moved yet because I am not good in the programming.
No issues.
So
See,
that's why
even if you are not,
this is.
expert in programming, that is absolutely fine. You don't need to learn advanced Java. You just have to start with the core Java
Okay.
first. How will you declare a variable? How will you create a class? How will you write a main method? Just start. Starting itself is half of the journey you are winning over there. Okay. So
Yeah.
don't worry about that. Uh, you are not supposed to be a programmer, right? Even if you have
Yeah.
a basic knowledge of Java, that is good to start with Selenium.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you so much, Saurav, for your
Yeah.
time. Have a
Yeah.
nice day.
Thank you. Thank
All the
you.
best for your career.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.